Welcome to Ben's English Lab. Ben's English Lab. In this video, I'm going to be explaining everything that you need to know on One of Concord. In my last video, what I did was to explain, to correct the notion or analysis that a particular English language creator had submitted while attempting a question on this particular concept. Now, after I published our video and I sat down to reflect on the thing that I said in there, I realized that there were other things that I needed, that I have to explain, on structures that are not often talked about on this particular concept, which is why I'm making this video. If you're yet to see that video, kindly check on my YouTube channel. You can also check on my TikTok account. There you will understand what I'm talking about. So in this class, I will again be going over the basic rule that realizes One of Concord. And after that, I'll go on to explaining those structures that are often not talked about on this concept. And understand that it is these often not talked about structures that seem to bring about confusion when fellow teachers or students, come across this concept of One of Concord. So let's get to the class right away. What I'll be doing right now is to first give a sentential example with which I'll be explaining what the rule states on this concept. So let's get started. Let's have this example. Let's say one of the reasons that Dash has access to the throne, dash his blood. This is just an example. Dash his blood. And let's have some options. Let's say, we have gave slash is B. We have gave, let's say gives slash R. Let's say we have C, we have give slash R. And let's say we have D, we have gives. Okay, we have this already. We have gives versus is. Okay, I think it's all balanced now. So what does the rule state? The rule of One of Concord simply says that when you have this structure, the first verb in the sentence is controlled by the group before the verb. Okay. The first verb here, let's say this is V1 and this is V2. According to the rule of One of Concord, the first verb here must be controlled by the noun before the relative pronoun. Okay. That is the noun before this V1, while the second verb here is controlled by the number at the beginning of the part, by the number at the beginning of the sentence. What's the number at the beginning of the sentence? It is 1. So this 1, being a singular number, a singular noun, is controlled by what is here. What is here is controlled by the number at the beginning, while what is here is controlled by what is here. So simply what we're trying to say is that when you have One of Concord, there are two things involved. The first is that you have a minority group. And secondly, you have a majority group. The number at the beginning is a minority group that belongs to the larger part. This is the majority group. One of the reasons, what you're saying, you might want to have 2 of the reasons, 3 of the reasons. Whatever is here is just a micro, is a microcosm of what is here. This is macro and this is micro. So the micro part of the sentence controls the second verb, while the macro, the larger group, controls the verb here. So let's get to it. First of all, this is the larger group. One of the reasons, one of the many reasons. This is the large group. Is this singular or plural? Of course, this is plural. Therefore, this will be a plural verb. So let's go to the options. Which of these is a plural verb? Give is a plural verb. We explain why it's a plural verb in another video. This is a plural verb, okay? Now, okay, let's again, we have another plural verb. This is singular verb. This is a plural verb. And this is a singular verb, okay? So that means automatically, because option B has a singular verb for this, it is wrong. No matter what is here, this is wrong. Do we have another gives? This is gives. We have another gives here. Gives. This also is wrong. Why? Because this is a singular verb. So a singular verb cannot be here. Are we clear with that? So the right option is between option A and option C. Okay. So if this is correct, then is this right? Is this right? Let's find out. What's the number at the beginning of the sentence? It is 1. 1 is singular. So it means a singular verb will be here already. We've established that this is gives, right? This is give, plural. So let's find out. 1 singular verb, okay? So let's see. Option A, is singular, okay? Automatically, that is correct. The answer here is. Let's find out. Option C, are. Wrong. Why? Because are has nothing to do with 1. So this, of course, is the basic rule that explains One of Concord. So one of the reasons that gave us access to the throne is his blood. That said, let's look at another structure. Oh my God, okay. Let's look at another structure. Before I go to the other structures, you should understand that simply is the rule that explains One of Concord, but here are other supposedly confusing structures that come to mind when people explain this concept. Okay, let's say is 1. Now let's start with the same structure. Let's add 1 of the reasons. One of the reasons, dash, reasonable. Reasonable. Okay. One of the reasons, reasonable. One of the reasons, reasonable. This is a very clear example of grammatical concord. This has nothing to do with One of Concord, basically, although the structure is coming out here. One of the reasons, because now the focus is not on the reasons here, the focus is on 1. 1 out of these people, 1 out of these reasons, is. 1 out of 10 is a good number or is a bad number. One of the reasons is reasonable. One of the reasons was reasonable. That's actually very clear. His. That's 1. Now let's go back to the first example. 1 of the boys here. I'm going somewhere. One of the boys here. The same applies to the second example we looked at just minutes ago or just some moments ago. One of the boys is here. One of them is here. That's correct, okay? Good. Now let's go a little complex. 1 of the boys in the room is, okay, now, one of the boys in the room, my friend. Good. Do we say, my friend? B is my friend. D. Okay, let's say, where. No, okay, C. And then we have D. Let's say, just with anything. One of the boys in the room. Let's focus on in the room. If I cancel out in the room, this structure becomes one of the boys dash my friend, which of course is clear. One of the boys is my friend. But we have a qualifier. The qualifier here, I'm going to ask a question. What do you think is the function of this prepositional phrase in the room? What's the function? Why do we have this prepositional phrase here? Do you think the relevance of this prepositional phrase is having something to do with these boys, or it has something to do with one? Obviously, this prepositional phrase here has a lot to do with boys, with what is here. This here is describing this noun phrase, boys. I'll be clear. This here, you ask yourself, one of the boys, dash my friend. One of the boys is my friend. One of the boys is my friend. Which of the boys are we talking about? Are you talking about the boys we met last night at the club, or the boys that are in the room? Then I say, oh no, I'm not talking about the boys we met last night, but the boys right now in the room. The boys in the room. Right here, this prepositional phrase is describing what is here, boys. It is a qualifier, is a post modifier to boys. So this is a phrase. So when you have a structure of One of Concord, where you have a prepositional phrase describing the group, the park, the verb is always singular. The verb is always singular, especially the number here is singular, okay? One of the boys in the room. Which of the boys are you talking about? The boys in the room. One of them is my friend. If I change this to two of the boys in the room, then are becomes their answer. Are my friend. Two of them. Two of the boys. Two of which boys? The boys in the room. Two of the boys in the room are my friend. One of the boys in the room. One of them is my friend. I'm going somewhere. Still on this row. Still on this structure. Now let's continue. Look at this. I'm going to clean this out. Take this out. Take this out. Okay, come with me. Now, one of the boys that dash the room. The dash the room. Sorry. The dash the room. Okay, the dash the room. Dash my friend. Option A, or option B. Okay, sorry. Let's say option A is R, B, R is, C is, D, R. Okay. One of the boys that dash in the room dash my friend. Of course, that's right, but let's just go this way. One of the boys dash in the room dash my friend, or dash my friend, whenever you have a man right there. What should be the right answer? Now, one of the boys. Which of the boys are you talking about? See, the presence of this definite article also has a lot to do with affecting the meaning we're going to make at the end of this structure. But let's leave that aside. One of the boys, remember, is my friend. No doubt about that. One of those 10 boys, one out of those 10 boys is my friend. Just one out of those people, one out of that group is my friend. Just one. Okay, well, let's go. One of the boys. Which boys are you talking about? Remember, always ask that question. One of the boys, because with the presence of this definite article, it means that you have in mind, you have a preconceived knowledge, a foreknowledge of the boys that I'm talking about. But because this is not a context outside the exams, most of the times these questions come out on the exam situations. And when you have exam situations, you don't expect the examiner to expect you to begin to think outside of the box. Every context that you need, every premise that you need for analysis of the question is always present in the question. You don't have to travel out of the questions. This is not about you. It's about the people in here. This is not contextual. This is just basically under exam situation. Right. So one of the boys, you weren't part of this. You listening to me right now, your audience might say, I'm not part of this, the context of this board. I'm not part of the context of this situation. This situation is for everybody around the world. Whatever analysis that I have, you should also be able to arrive at the same answer based on what I do and based on what you do. Okay. So one of the boys, you ask yourself, which boys are we talking about? Which boys? Oh, the boys that dash in the room. The boys that dash in the room. Look at from that dash in the room. All of this, all from this point, this relative pronoun to this point. From that to the room. Everything you have here is a qualifier to this noun phrase, the boys. This is like an adjective on a larger scale that explains, that describes the boys we're talking about. One of the boys is my friend. We know that. One of them is my friend. But which of the boys? Like, which boys are you talking about? Which boys are you talking about? You mean one of those boys, one of the bad boys? Is it one of those boys in yellow? One of the boys? No, I'm not talking about those boys in green clothes. I'm talking about the boys, the boys in the room. Now, remember that I said, when you have this structure, the first verb is controlled by the noun that comes before the verb. The noun preceded by this relative pronoun. Okay. The boys, of course, boys here is plural, not singular, is plural. And so a plural verb attracts a plural noun. A plural noun attracts a plural verb. Okay. So the boys that are, oh, definitely. Okay, sorry. Oh, we have two R's. Listen, we have two R's. So we have R here, okay? And we have R in this place. We have R and we have R. So this here is wrong. Wrong is wrong. Why? Because the V1 here has to be controlled by what is here. Are we clear with that? This is plural. Definitely, this has to be. This is plural, then this has to be plural, but this is singular, wrong. This is singular, wrong. So it's between B and D. So this we've established that it is R. So what will it be? This that is right or this that's right? Let's find out. What's the number? Remember that to get what is here, to go back to the beginning of the sentence, to the number. The number here is just 1, and so 1 is singular. Very singular verb here. So this is also incorrect. I'll be clear with that. So I'll clean this. And we go to another example. Look at this. I'm using 1 because it's easier to understand as well. Of course, I'll change the number pretty soon. One of them dash my friend. One of them dash my friend. Who dash my friend has been released. Has been released today. Good. This is a typical example of a situation that seems confusing to creators or language students, English language students. So this is clear. The first structure is very clear. One of them is my friend, no doubt about it. One of them, good. This is where the supposed problem often emanates from. So one of them, oh my goodness, why did I do this? Come on. Dash released today. Sorry, I should not put this here. I got carried away. Sorry. Okay. One of them, who dash my friend, dash released today. So let's have options. We have are, okay, and then we have been, okay. We have be, we have are, then we have has been, then we have C, is, has been, D, we have is, then we have been. Let me see. Let me check if I'm still within frame. Okay, I'm still within frame. It's about the last line before I'm out of frame. So let's go to this structure. It's a little different, and I'll tell you why. One of them is my friend. Please. Well, this is the group. One of these people is my friend. Remember that this is a pronoun. And what type of pronoun is this? This is a pronoun of their objective case. Objective case is an object. This is a pronoun at the object case, not at the subject case. Okay. And that is actually very important to their analysis, to the interpretation of what the answer will be in the second concept here, the second structure. Now, one of them is my friend. We are not describing the people. We aren't describing these people at all. We don't have other linguistic elements here to describe this part. And the reason is clear. The reason is because you cannot describe a pronoun at the objective case. You cannot explain, you cannot describe a pronoun at the object case. I'll come to that. So let's come to this number 2. 1, 2. One of them, who dash my friend, dash released today. Remember, look at it. It looks like this is giving the vibe of this particular example. This example, let me tag this A. Let's say A. A is given the vibe of 2, and 2 is given the same vibe of A. But there's a difference. Look at A, the sentence in A. What we have as the group is the boys. Noun, a noun, and not a pronoun. In the objective case. One of them, here, one of them, who dash my friend. This who, for this very structure, has nothing to do with this them. This who is coming back to one. Why? The reason is you can have a relative pronoun describing a pronoun at the object case or at the objective case. It's impossible. So you can say that one of us who are in the room. One of us who are in the room. One of us who are in the room. You can't have that because who cannot describe a pronoun at the objective case. It's practically impossible linguistically, except we want to speak, except for informal situations. But you don't expect structures like this to occur in exam situations. You can't speak like that under exam situations. You can only speak that way casually under casual circumstances. So one of them who dash my friend. the function of this who, in this case, is different from the function of this that. Remember that this that can also be who, the same thing, relative pronoun, okay? This can also be that, okay? One of them, that dash my friend, is still the same thing. The same thing. But the function of this relative pronoun here is different from the function of this relative pronoun in this sentence. The function of this is that it describes what is here, okay? A relative pronoun is a pronoun that describes the noun that precedes it, the noun before it. Now, this is a relative pronoun. What is the noun that precedes it? This is the noun, now, this is not a noun. A relative pronoun should describe the noun that precedes it. But this is a pronoun that precedes it. So this relative pronoun has nothing to do with this. Rather, it has a lot to do with this one. Are we clear? So, if this has something to do with this, it means therefore that the answer in this place is has, singular verb. Do you understand? One of them who, oh sorry, not has. Okay. Oh my God. Who is? One of them who is my friend, then here, has been arrested. So this should have been here because normally I think I forgot. Oh, sorry, yeah. One of them who is, we have is here, we have is here. This is out, this is out. Are we clear? So we left between this. One of them who is my friend, has been arrested. It can't be. One of them who is my friend have been arrested. No. For the second verb, for the V2, remember, the V2 always is controlled by the number at the beginning. So one of them, let's leave this out. One of them, who dash my friend, has been released today. And the reason this is has is because remember the second verb always goes back to the number, and the number at the beginning is one. And so one is a singular noun, it's a singular pronoun, and that it has a lot to do with been, because has been is a singular verb. So what about this? This, one of them. Them is plural. It's a plural verb, but it is a pronoun. Okay. And so the description here, the description in this place is coming back to one. Why? The reason is this who, a relative pronoun, cannot describe a pronoun as a qualifier. Are we clear? Instead, this comes back to this place. So what I'm trying to say in other words is that the structure you have here in number 2 is different from what we have under A example. This is a noun and this is a pronoun. When you have a noun being the group here in the structure of One of Concord, when you have nouns here, then the first verb will always be plural. And the second verb is being controlled or will be controlled by the number. If the number is plural, then the second verb is plural. Okay, this is constant. Okay, but when it comes to a structure where you have one of them and then you have who is my friend, this of course is a qualifier. The qualifier here is also a clause. It's a clause, but the difference is that who, in this case, has nothing to do with this, but with this, which is why this is the right answer. So let me give one final example under the structure before we call it a wrap. Now, check this out. B, one of those boys dash my friend. This is clear. It's clear. The answer is actually very clear. One of those boys dash my friend. Look at those boys. Do we have anything describing the boys here like that, or who? One of those boys who, one of those boys that. No, we don't have that structure here. If you don't have that structure, that descriptive structure, the answer is always singular. One of them is. One of those boys is my friend. One of them is my friend. Very clear. One of those boys is my friend. Now, let's look at this. See. One of those boys without uniform dash my friend. The answer here is still the same as this. One of those boys without uniform is my friend. One of those boys. Which boys are you talking about? The ones without uniform. Here, the verb has been swallowed. The verb is intrinsic, but you don't know what the verb is. One of those boys that do not have uniform. One of those boys who aren't on uniform is. One of them is. One of those boys without uniform is my friend. Now look at this qualifier to those boys. This qualifier doesn't have a verb inside of it. If it's going to have a verb, the verb will be a plural verb, while this, the second verb, will be controlled by the number. Let's have this example. The final example before we call it A, B, C, D. One of those boys who dash arrested dash been released. One of those boys dash been arrested. I'm checking whether I'm still within frame. Okay. Oh, this is 32 minutes. That's a lot of time already. One of those boys who dash arrested dash been released. Here we have the minority group, and here we have the majority group. Okay. And here we have who, a relative pronoun, RP. The relative pronoun here is describing those boys. Okay. So everything here, from this relative pronoun to this part, let's claim this RP. This is a relative clause. Okay. This is a relative clause, an adjectival clause. This clause here has no business with this number. Rather, it's describing this group that comes before this relative pronoun. Okay, those boys. Which boys? Okay, one of those boys. Cancel this out. Let's say we want to cancel this out. So the sentence will read, one of those boys has been released. One of them has been released. But with this structure now, with the presence of the relative clause, that describes those boys. Which boys are you talking about? I mean, those boys who were arrested yesterday. One of those boys who were arrested, maybe yesterday, has been arrested. Who were, maybe in the past, who are, but of course this situation is in the past. One of those boys who were arrested, not one of those boys who was arrested. One of those boys who was arrested. Which boys are you talking about? The boys who was arrested makes no sense. Or the grammatical concord, that is incorrect. So one of those boys. Which boys? The boys who were arrested last night. The boys who were just one of those boys. Which boys? The boys who were arrested last night has been released. With this, I hope that I've been able to throw more light on what this concept is about and those other structures that appear confusing. Remember, when you have a phrase qualifying the larger group here, when you have a phrase such as a prepositional phrase, such as an adjective phrase qualifying, post-modifying this larger group, your answer is always a singular verb and a singular verb. But when you have a clause post-modifying the noun here, your answer, your verb here is always a plural verb, and the second verb is always determined by the number at the beginning of the pack. And again, when you have, okay, I think I cleaned that already. I cleaned that example. When you have a relative pronoun describing or post-modifying a verb in the objective case, that relative pronoun goes back to affect the number at the beginning of the pack. If after all of these things, after all of these explanations, you still find this a little confusing, kindly reach out to me. I'll take our time to break things down again. But with this, I hope I've been able to make things clearer than I did in the last video. If you've watched this video to this point, you're really a champ. That means you know what you want. Thanks a lot for being a part of this community. I implore you to please subscribe to this channel. Follow me on TikTok and across other social media platforms to always catch up on all of my contents in the future. See you next time. Bye for now.
Dance English Lab, Dance English Lab, where we learn to write, to speak it right, and we teach it right. We breathe things down just so you can fly, so you can smile. So come with your writing material, your book and pen, your book and pen, your book and pen, your book and pen. Are you ready to learn your English right, to speak it right? Do you want to write an error-free, to speak with steez? Then you choose Best English Lab. Don't waste no time and jump to shout and yell high. Welcome to Ben's English Lab, Ben's English Lab, Ben's English Lab, Ben's English Lab. Where we learn to write, to speak it right, and we teach it right. We breathe things down just so you can fly, so you can smile. Just come with your writing material, your book and pen, your book and pen, your book and pen, your book and pen. Are you ready to learn your English right, to speak it right? Do you want to write an error-free, to speak with Steve? Then you choose Best English Lab. Don't waste no time and jump to shout and you'll say I, and say I. Let me say loud, let me say I, let me say I. Speak it right, writing it right. Speaking right, writing right is my and my friend. Speak it right, writing it right. Speaking right, writing right is my and my friend. Speak it right, writing it right. Speaking right, writing right is my and my friend. Welcome to Ben's English Lab, Ben's English Lab, Ben's English Lab, Ben's English Lab. Where we learn to write, to speak it right, and we teach it right. We breathe things down just so you can fly, so you can smile. Just come with your writing material, your book and pen, your book and pen, your book and pen, your book and pen. Are you ready to learn your English right, to speak it right? Do you want to write an error-free, to speak with Steve? Then you choose Best English Lab. Don't waste no time and jump to shout and yell high as they say I. Let me hear you say loud, let me hear you say I. Just let me say I. Let me hear you say I, let me hear you say I. Let me hear you say I. Speak it right, writing it right. Speaking right, writing right is life and my friend.